And the giving of the law, the service of God, and the promises. If you will keep my covenant and be a holy nature unto me, ye shall be a peculiar treasure and the kingdom of priests. The reason why I chose the sons of Jacob is to dwell on the earth and to be a priest nation. So my statutes unto Israel, my word unto Jacob, and I have not done so with any other nation. The only ever I know in the free nation, these prophets and Nazarites, I'm of your nation. You keep the word of ransom from your Savior.
Right.
You gotta give me 30 seconds.
You good?
You robbing me.
You good?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Bible in Plain View. This is a show where we come together once every first Sunday of the month to actually sit down and, elaborate on the Word of God regarding the Scriptures, so we can edify people that are actually trying to search out the Scriptures. This month, a lot of us know that for the month of February for African Americans, here in America they call it Black History Month, and we don't like to subscribe to that. But on the other hand, on the other side of that, since we know that a lot of people will be taking part, or celebrating this month as Black History, what we decide to do is actually get in the Word of God and show the true history of the so-called African American. Not only the African American here in America, because it doesn't just stop here. We do understand that there were people that were gathered from the West Coast of Africa and brought over to the Americas by way of slave ship, but a lot of people think that it just stopped here in America itself, when actually it was all throughout the four corners of the earth. So what we're going to look at today, we're actually going to get into the color of this people, because if you notice, when you deal with, no matter what it is, whether you're trying to buy a house, even when you get, when you try to choose a house, you choose a house based on what color it is. Even if you go to the grocery store, you're looking at different type of meats you want, and one way you can determine whether that meat is good or bad, you judge that meat based on its color. If it's green, more than likely that meat is not good, so you're not gonna get that. Then if you have different decorations you want put up inside your house, you base it on the different type of color you want. So color, has an effect on all of us in different types of ways. But when it comes to who the children of Israel are, and the color they happen to be, a lot of the world says, color doesn't matter. But color matters with everything else. But when it comes to the priests of God, color doesn't matter. And that's a problem, sisters and brothers, because all this time, if you look at history throughout mankind's history and existence, mainly, we won't say mankind's history. We'll say the last 2,000 to 3,000 years. Once Constantine and the Romans came into power, you'll see that they put up different images that look like them. And that's not the right depiction of how the Israelites look, sisters and brothers. According to the British mandate in 1948, you had people taken into the land, and they wiped out the real history of the Israelites, and they put up a totally different people, and they told you these are the children of Israel. But that does not line up with the Bible. Now, if color doesn't matter, then it shouldn't be a problem when we go through the scriptures and show you, and according to history, how the children of Israel look. See, it wasn't a problem for the world when we took the image of Caesar Borgia, which happens to be a white guy. When we took that picture and put it in our homes, color didn't matter to us. Well, likewise, now that truth is coming out, now that we're showing you the truth according to the Bible and show you how the real children of Israel look, then it should be a problem, also on the opposite end of the spectrum. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into the history of this, and this Sabbath coming up, we'll elaborate on it a lot more. We're just gonna deal with it today, so we can just kind of touch on it and start the month off with the truth instead of all the folly that's gonna be coming regarding Israel. All right, so let's go on to Exodus chapter 1, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at what did Jacob have? What do we even get Israel from? All right, so Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, bro.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came unto Egypt.
Came into Egypt.
Every man in his household came with Jacob.
Go ahead.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar,
Issachar,
Zebulun, and Benjamin.
Go ahead.
Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
All right, so what we're looking at right now, we're looking at Jacob and his 12 sons. We had 11 sons along with himself that went into Egypt, okay? When a famine came, when there was a famine across the land, they needed to go get some food, so they went down into Egypt. Egypt is on the African continent, all right? Now, Joseph was already in Egypt. So if you look at these 11 sons that came out of Jacob and you add Joseph to it, we got the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, so we going to turn over to Psalm chapter 105. And let's look at another name for this place, which we know as Egypt. Psalm chapter 105. And we're going to look at one verse here. Psalm 105, and we're going to pick it up at verse 23. And my reader today is Brother Joseph. He getting his feet wet in the word of God, so that's definitely a blessing. All right, Psalm 105 and verse 23, brother. Go ahead.
Israel also came into Egypt.
Oh, so another name for Jacob, his name got changed to Israel. So when we look at this, when it says Israel also came into Egypt, we actually talking about Israel. We talking about Jacob and his sons. All right, so it says Israel also came into Egypt, which we just saw. Go ahead and read.
And Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham.
Oh, so not only did they go into Egypt, they sojourned in the land of Ham. Because we're going to find out when we go over here, turn over to Genesis chapter 10, and we're going to look at what belonged to Ham. Genesis chapter 10. And we're also going to find out who this Ham is. Because a lot of people like to mistakenly say that African Americans or Hamites. But what I can say to you is that all black people are not Hamites, sisters and brothers. Now, all Israel is black, but not all black people are Israelites. Okay, so that's one thing we have to clear up, and we're going to see that today. So let's look at Genesis chapter 10, because it says Israel came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham, which is one and the same. Jacob and Israel. This is before Jacob's name got changed to Israel, it was Jacob, and then once he had that encounter with the angel, he fought with the angel, and then his name got changed to Israel. And he was adopted, and he took on the name of our Lord and Savior. A lot of people don't know that. But Genesis chapter 10, and go ahead and pick this up at verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Go ahead.
And unto them were sons born after the flood.
Okay, so now if you read up to Genesis 7 all the way up to 10, you will see you'll see what happened during the time of the flood. Well, after the flood was over, it was before we even get to the end of the flood, the people that got on the ark, it was Noah, his wife, his sons, which he had Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and their 3 sons and their 3 wives. So it was a total of 8 people, right? Now, after the flood was over, now we got these 3 sons that are getting ready to populate this earth. Now, as we read 1 through 5, which you can read on your own time, 1 through 5, you'll see that it's going to give you the rundown of Japheth and, where they went to. And the seeds out of Japheth make up the Gentiles. So now we're going to look at the ones that came out of Ham. All right, so pick it up at verse 6 and go ahead.
And the sons of Ham.
The sons of Ham. So let's see who the sons of Ham are. Go ahead.
Cush and Mesriam and Foot.
Go ahead.
And Canaan.
All right, so that's all we want to look at right now. So we want to find out who these sons of Cush are. Sons of Ham are. Now, the first one we saw was Cush. Now, when you look at the word Cush, the Greek word for it is Aethiops. And today we know that it's Ethiopia. So we're going to, have a look at it and see what it says in the Bible dictionary. The book that I'm reading from is called the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. And see, that's the problem with a lot of people today. It's information out here. The simple fact is that people don't read. If you're not reading, you miss out on a lot of valuable information. If you go back, one of the famous sayings among Israelites or black folks is, the best way to fool a black man is to what? Put it in a book. So reading is fundamental. All right, so page 60, Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. We're going to look at the word Aethiops or Ethiopian. it says the Ethiopians, which is another name for Cush. All right. It says the Ethiopians had skin of different appearance. The Greek name Aethiops means burnt face. It shows the color to have been dark. All right, so that's what I wanted to point out right here. Ethiopian or Aethiop, it actually means burnt face. So this is, in the land of Ham. This is the son, or this is a son of Cush. I mean, the son of Ham, his name is Cush. All right, but the Greeks came over when they took over. They saw that these people were dark-skinned people, so they labeled them burnt faces. It means Aethiop or Ethiopian. All right, so now let's go a little further. And then also, if you notice, the names that were given to them, it represents also their territories. So today you look at Cush, you'll be able to go on the map, you will see Ethiopia. It still exists today. And the Ethiopians, they still over there, they still look the same. All right, so now let's go a little further. Let's look at Mizraim. Now we saw that Ham had also another son called Mizraim. Mizraim also means Egypt. And Mizraim, he was the father of the Egyptians. All right, so you can look that up, you'll see it. Go a little further, you'll be able to, research that information and verify it. And I beg you to do that. Don't just take our word for it, okay? All right, but Mizraim is also known as Egypt. And Mizraim, he was the father of the Egyptians, but he came out of Ham. All right, so now let's go look at Ham. Now, Ham, we're going to look at this in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. It says here, it's on page 213. If you ever have a chance to get this book, this is a pretty good dictionary. You can't believe everything in the dictionaries. But, somebody got some information on who the Israelites are and who the Hamites are. So Ham on page 213, it says Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, because we know it was only 8 that made it out of the flood, right? So Ham was one of those. So it said he was one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor. Progenitor means father. So it says he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. See, we got a problem here because everybody like to say, well, the Negroes are Africans or Hamites. They say that we got black skin and we were cursed and we picked up the curse of Ham. Well, first off, Ham, all his seed wasn't cursed. Cain was the only one that was cursed. And as far as it being colored, we can't say it was that. The Bible ain't specific on what it is. All right, so, the Mormons and all that type of stuff, they say this about us, black people, that's a curse from God. That's a lie. All right, but notice what it says. It says Ham, he was a progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, letting us know that there's a difference between the Negroes and the Africans. But what? But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So that's who Ham is the father of. He's the father of the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, not the Negroes. So you got African Americans, you got people, Haitians, you got Jamaicans that do not come out of the seed of Ham. People in Brazil that were scattered into captivity also. But now let's go look at this World Book Encyclopedia, page 30. And, this is something I just got off freecycle.com. Somebody had a list of encyclopedias for free, and I went and got it because information is in these books. And this is a real old book. But I'm going to give you the definition of a Hamite. It says Hamite, and it's actually a World Book Encyclopedia, page 30, under H. Hamite is a member of a group that entered Africa from Asia long ago. In some areas, the Hamites conquered the Negroes and mixed with them. See, this is why, Barack Obama, he knows he's not a Negro. He knows that there's a difference between the Negroes and the Africans. So that's why if you look at the slave trade, when the slave trade took place and we came over to the Americas, if you notice what the sign said, it said Negroes for sale. It didn't say Africans, it didn't say Hamites, it didn't say Cushites and nothing like that, because they used the Negro as a derogatory term to call the children of Israel. These are the bywords that they were put on them. You see, but this is what they had up for sale. They didn't have Africans for sale. When you look at people filling up the prison houses, black folk, those aren't Africans for the most part. Those are Negroes. But even the dictionary, the encyclopedias and the dictionary, they know the difference. It's just that Israel don't know the difference, trying to be a part of the Egyptians, wearing our dashikis and all that type of stuff. You like a fish out of water. All right, but let's go a little further. Let's go into Amos chapter 9 and verse 7. Because see, they mixed with the Israelites, the Hamites did, but they still ain't, they're not Israelites. Notice what it said. It says the Hamites, they entered Africa, and further down it says in some areas the Hamites conquered the Negroes. So how do you think the Negroes got sold? See, they were the one who were doing the gathering and telling them where they were and all this type of stuff when the Gentiles came over to scope out the land. The Africans or the Hamites, put them up on game and told them, yeah, them Negroes down there, down low below us. You look on the map, you'll see where we resided at. Well, they was on us, and then we got sold. The Africans didn't get sold, all right, as a nation. There might have been a few that got caught up in there with it. I don't know. That's like you throw a net out into the water. You look trying to catch fish, where you might catch some crabs and some shrimp and all that type of stuff. So that might have happened in the slave trade. I'm not sure. But for the most part, as a nation, Israel is the one that was sold into captivity. All right, so Amos chapter 9. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 7, brother.
Are ye not as children of Ethiopians unto me?
So notice what the Lord said. He said, are ye not as the Ethiopians unto me? Oh, what?
O children of Israel.
Oh, children of Israel. So I'm having trouble finding this big old Bible. But he said, are ye not as a, read that one more time for me.
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel?
Yeah, hold on. Is this saying, let me see your Bible. Okay. Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? So what the Lord is saying is, we talking about physical appearance. So let's go see, because now we just saw that Ethiopia or Ethiop, it means burnt faces, right? So that means that they have the Israelites have the same appearance. So let's go look a little further. I'm sorry I couldn't get that in my Bible, but my brother got here, so I can read off his. All right, Genesis chapter 50. If I had 2 hours, I would have, took some time to find it. But as long as we got another Bible open here. So Genesis chapter 50. And let's look at this. And this is when Jacob died. And when Jacob died, you had the Israelites, going to mourn. And then you also had some Egyptians among them. But let's notice what it's going to say here. Genesis chapter 50. We're going to pick it up at verse 7. Go ahead and read, bro.
And Joseph went up to bury his father. And with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt.
All right, skip down to verse 10.
And they came to the of Atad, which is beyond Jordan.
That's right. Go ahead.
And they were mourning.
And they mourned.
And they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. And he had made mourning for his father 7 days.
That's right. Go ahead.
And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, this is a grievous mourning in the Egyptians.
To the Egyptians.
Wherefore the name of it was called
Abel Mizraim.
Which is beyond Jordan.
All right, so notice what's going on here. All right, so verse 10, first off, we got Jacob. Jacob, remember Jacob and Israel went down into Egypt, right? So we know this is an Israelite we're talking about that actually, died. So we got Joseph and all his house mourning for their father. So in verse 10, it says, and they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond Jordan, and there they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. He made a mourning for his father 7 days. Now notice what happens here in verse 11. It says, and when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, which are also, sons of Ham, when they saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, this is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. But these are Israelites, and you had Egyptians with them. But why are they calling them Egyptians? Because remember, we just saw that he said, are you not as Ethiopians under me? You know what I'm saying? Because Ethiopians look just like their brother, which are Egyptians. They got black and burned faces. But also Israel has the same makeup. They look just alike. This is why the Canaanites are saying this morning to the Egyptians. Wherefore the name of it was called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond Jordan. Abel mourning of Egypt. Now let's go into Exodus chapter 2. Let's go look at one of the famous prophets and one of the famous intercessors, the intercessor that we had in the Old Testament for Israel. Let's look at his makeup. And we're going to see that during his time, the Pharaoh wanted the Hebrew boys killed. And, they parents saw Moses' parents saw that he was a good child, so instead of just killing him, they put him in a basket, and his sister took him down to the shore, and they, you know, she was gonna watch him as he was going up the shore. But we gonna notice what's gonna happen. Exodus chapter 2. Let's pick it up at verse 5. Go ahead and read, bro.
And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river.
And
her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw a child. And behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
Okay, so she knew it was one of the Hebrews. Why? Because the Hebrews, you know, it was like a hit on the Hebrew boys, like it is today. Ain't no difference. It's a hit on us today. That's why we're getting shot down in the streets, left and right. You know, but that's just a part of the curse. But at the same time, she knew it was one of the Hebrew boys. You know, even though they looked alike, and we're gonna show you that they looked alike. But she gonna take the baby, tell Moses' sister Miriam to go take the child to his mother, or go, nurse the child for him. She'll pay her the wages, not knowing that, you know, that was his sister. And she took Moses back to his mother, and his mother nursed him, bringing him up. Now, as he grows up, let's see what happens. Skip down to verse 10. Go ahead.
And the child grew, and she brought him into Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son.
Go ahead. Oh, so the child grew. We talking about Moses now. The child grew, and she brought him under Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, right? Go ahead.
And she called his name Moses. And she said, "Because I drew him out of the water."
That's right. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in those days.
Now, before we go a little further, just keep in mind now, if Moses became her son, and she is the daughter of the Pharaoh, this child is living in the household with Pharaoh, possibly Pharaoh thinking that this is his grandson. But why didn't he say, well, you know, why didn't you kill him a long time ago? Can't you see that he has a white skin, a different skin than we have? But he didn't say that. You know why he didn't say that? Because the Israelites and the Egyptians looked exactly alike. So it wouldn't be no issue. It wouldn't be hard for him to camouflage himself. And matter of fact, we're gonna look a little further. We're gonna see that even our master had to camouflage himself with the Egyptians also. All right, so the child grew, she brought him in unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So if Moses became her son, that means he became Pharaoh's grandson. And Pharaoh had a hit out on the Hebrews. Okay? But it says what she called his name Moses, and she said, "Because I drew him out of the water." Now, verse 11, go ahead.
And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown.
So Moses grown now. Go ahead.
That he went out into his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
Now, keep in mind now, Moses saw an Egyptian whooping his brother, which is a Hebrew. If you read first, he's gonna kill that Egyptian. You know, but those were his people. He knew he was a Hebrew. You know, some people like to say, well, you know, Moses, he didn't know he was a Hebrew. If you read the Bible, Hebrews chapter 11 lets you know that Moses knew that he was a Hebrew, and he decided to roll with his people. You know, but the thing is, a lot of people, you know, don't want to tie the color to Moses. That's why you have them different movies, the 10 Commandments. What's that guy name that do the 10 Commandments?
Charles Heston.
Yeah, Charles Heston. You know, he's a white guy. You know, and but that's false, sisters and brothers. Even somebody up, you know, today with us on that, you still want to do it justice, because they have some type of way of distorting the color. You know, and I think that's a sad situation, because what you do is you take the history from this people away from them. But it's all good, because the Lord is not pouring out his spirit. This is why we're able to bring to you the facts and the truth of the matter. So it says, it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brothers. So Moses was a Hebrew. He saw an Egyptian beating on his brother, Hebrew also. Now let's go into Matthew chapter 2. We're looking at this prophet that Deuteronomy chapter 18 told Moses that he was going to raise up a prophet like unto his brother. So we're going to see that the same characteristics or the same thing that was happening with Moses also happened with Jesus, this prophet that was prophesied to come. So Matthew chapter 2, and let's see what's going to happen after they get ready to go back into where they can, because they had to go up to be taxed. So as they're on their way back, a vision going to come to Joseph, let him know, don't take him back into the land, because Herod want to kill him. So Matthew chapter 2, and let's see what Joseph gonna do. What is the angel gonna tell Joseph? Where is he gonna tell him to take this child? Matthew chapter 2, pick it up at verse 13. Go ahead and read, bro.
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying,
Go ahead.
Take this young child and his mother and flee into Egypt.
Oh, so he told him what? Take this young child and his mother and flee into Egypt. Now think about it. We just saw that in this land of Egypt, you got Egypt, which come from Israel, right? Egypt also means black, just so you know. All right. Mizraim, that's, the Greek word for Mizraim, it means it was translated over to Egypt. All right. Ethiopia means burnt faces. In the Latin or the Greek, they call it Ethiops, right? And then which means burnt faces, right? So now all this land belonged to Ham. So now Jesus come on the scene. You got the same type of incident that was going on with Moses. Now it's happening with Jesus. And notice what the angel is telling Joseph to take Jesus. He said, take him into Egypt. Why is he taking him into Egypt? Now, just think about it. This is just rational thinking. Because I don't want nobody to say we racist. No, we ain't racist. What we doing is we telling you and we showing you our history according to the Bible. So don't get mad about it, because we put up with the lies for hundreds of years. So it shouldn't be no problem for you to deal with our truth for 30 years. Because we just not really waking up. All right. But why would the Lord or the angel tell Joseph to take a white child into Egypt where it's full of black people? It will make sense for him to tell him what, take him north into Rome, or because Rome was, keep in mind, Rome was in power at this time now. Okay, remember Paul was an apostle to the Gentiles. He went to, that's where you get the book of Romans from now. All right, so Rome was in power. It would have made a lot of sense if the child was white for him to tell him to take the child into Rome to hide among them. That don't make sense. You know why? Because Jesus was black. So he told him to take him down into Egypt to hide among the Egyptians. And when Herod dies, then bring him out. All right, so verse 15, go ahead.
And was there until the death of Herod that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. All right, so now we know that had to happen, but we just showing you the color of how Jesus was Egyptians to hide among Egyptians. That's like if there was a decree about going out today throughout the whole world, kill all the Negroes you see, in America. Well, I'm gonna try to get on the first flight out of here to Egypt. Well, I mean, keep in mind in 642 AD, the Arabs took Egypt down, but I'm gonna try to get somewhere, where Ethiopians reside or could kind of hide among them. Well, that's what was going on at this time also. So let's go on to Acts chapter 21. Let's look at, one of the ones that everybody like to worship. The Gentiles love Paul, but I think once we reveal the true color of his skin, they might hate him. I don't know. We'll see. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case even at the end. But it's just that right now we've been at the bottom for so long that it's hard for the other nations to see us any other way. Like I was telling my wife today, we play basketball good. The world say y'all play ball good, y'all play football good, y'all rap good, y'all sing good. But why we can't be the priest good? It seems like why we can't preach to y'all good? Why we can't teach y'all good? Why? Because it's hard for people to imagine that this people, the scum of the earth, is actually the priest of God. And I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, yeah, we are the priest of God, and we just happen to be a black people. That don't stop your salvation. But in order for you to find out how to get salvation, you need to identify this people. All right, so Acts chapter 21, pick it up at verse 37. Go ahead, brother. And as Paul was to be led into the castle.
Because Paul want to speak for himself now. He going before the captain, they jumping on him and all this type of stuff, saying he bringing Gentiles into the temple and all this, and they beat him, almost killed him. But asking him, let me speak, let me tell you what really happened. Go ahead and read, verse 37.
He said unto the chief captain,
go ahead.
May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
So he asked him, can you speak Greek? Go ahead.
Art not thou that Egyptian?
Oh, he said, are you not that Egyptian? Why is he saying it? Because the Egyptians and the Israelites look the same. But notice what Paul's going to say. Go ahead and read.
Which before these days made an uproar.
The Led out into the wilderness.
Led out to the wilderness, 4,000 men that were murderers.
Go ahead, because that's talking about when that's when Paul was having these people killed for the word of God, calling on Jesus. Paul was going down to Damascus. He wanted to go out and have people killed. He was known for that. He was at the foot of Stephen when he got killed. But that's what he's talking about. But notice what Paul's going to say, verse 39, because he asked him, are you not that Egyptian? What Paul going to say, 39?
But Paul said, I am a man, which I am a Jew.
Which am a Jew.
Which am a Jew of Tars.
Tarsus, the city of Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city. And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. So he let him know, I'm a Jew. So he got confused for being an Egyptian. Paul let him know, I'm a Jew. Now let's go on to the last place. Let's go to Acts chapter 13. Let's pick this up at verse 1. And see, people like to say, well, the Bible, you know what? The Bible clear everything up to show you that there's nothing new up under the sun. So Acts chapter 13 and verse 1. Let's look at these brothers who were in Antioch. Go ahead and read.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called
Niger. Y'all know what that means? Niger, the Latin word means black. Now they just made it derogatory and they call us niggas. Okay? So it's in the Bible. It's just pronounced a different way. But I'm just showing you that it says now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers. It's been niggas teaching. They've been teaching a long time ago, and now the Lord has put the spirit back up on us to teach again, sisters and brothers. So that's the lesson. Israel, the people of the Bible, what color are they? I hope somebody Jesus.
What's up, Israelite?
Appreciate you.